you pay attention to the Magic Online daily event results.
Let's take a zoom in and see what we see. I know there's that needle on Liliana of the Veil. There is a Thopter Foundry in play, along with the Batterskull and Jite, and a Visions at 1. So that's scary. But it doesn't look like Paul has any cards in his hand, so he's very reliant on that Visions actually resolving. Mondello is going to activate the Nile Spellbomb to get the graveyards out of here. The big question right now, I think, is the Sword of the Meek is now gone from the game.
Yeah.
Does Jake have a counterspell for the Visions? He's going to deploy Tarmogoyf and bash in here for 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure how big of a deal the sword actually is because Thopter Foundry's in play, can sacrifice any artifact. And with 2 equipment, I mean, even a single 1/1 flyer is going to be very scary.
So the Visions will resolve. And now draw a card for the turn, so 4 fresh ones. Don't know if he found anything he likes, though. That's the question. Now, I do actually think he found a copy of Humility. Yikes.
1/1 flyers are good.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
They're pretty good when you have that card in play.
1/1 with the Batterskull on it. Thoughts?
Who wins?
Let's say.
It's close.
And, ooh, a Verdict is pretty good, too. I didn't even see that one.
Yeah.
So that'll clear those up. All right. A little bit of a comeback here. I suppose when you draw 4 cards in one turn,
Yeah,
it makes things a little easier.
Generally have some options.
There's Humility hanging out in the sideboard here. So Mondello's going to play a copy of Charlotte's Agent. It's time to cascade. A couple of lands here that don't matter. There's a Deathrite Shaman. So those are going to go to the bottom. That is a Misty. Kick it back over. Lynch is going to sacrifice Batterskull. Get that weak stuff out of here.
Yeah. I want a 1/1.
Yep. And he's going to sacrifice maybe something else here. We'll see. You have the Thopter Foundry, it looks like. See, he's valuing that needle pretty highly. Let's make sure that Liliana is off the table. Yep. And this turn actually gets pretty interesting, too. As he does gain a little bit of life, of course, with the Thopter Foundry activations, but this turn he can go equip GT, attack you, put 2 counters on, play Humility, kill your 2 creatures.
Right.
He doesn't even have to kill them because they don't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
But Humility plus equipment is actually quite the combo.
Yeah, Humility is one of those cards that seems really, really powerful, especially against a lot of the decks that people like to play in Legacy. You know, you see like Emrakul's and Gristlebrand's, and this card just kind of dominates all of them, right? So I think this card has always just been waiting for a good home.
I saw Lynch almost played Humility before equipping, but he stopped himself. He said, let me make sure I do this in the right order. Get in with my flyers. Now I'll play Humility. Now it's going to be really, really tough for you to win. Mondello does have a Jace in hand. He says, okay, get both of those things out of here. Now he's going to try to ride this to victory. Again, the needle is naming Liliana. Now, there is one card that can actually help to get Mondello out of this, and it looks like he has it in his hand. It's Jace the Mind Sculptor. He will sacrifice the Misty Rainforest. Jake will try to figure out exactly what land he wants to get. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, Paul does have an Academy Ruins down there. So he can go get back, you know, the Thopter Foundry and kind of rebuild the army.
Yeah, or the Batterskull, you know, just like whatever you want, basically. At this point, I feel like he's found all the important stuff in his deck.
Now it's time to see if Jace the Mind Sculptor is better than all.
Or at least, is he better than Thopter tokens?
Yeah. So, and you see the Deathrite Shaman over there in the grip. He's going to Brainstorm. Not going to bounce. 2, 3. Thoughts he used Wasteland and Liliana.
Wasteland could be relevant here, taking out that Academy Ruins.
Yeah. Thinks it gets ready to cause some serious trouble this game. And Mondello hasn't played a land yet either.
Yep.
He ended his last turn by playing a fetch land. This turn, he searched up a land to play the Jace. But hasn't played land just yet, and I do like playing Wasteland this turn. He also has the option of playing Pluto Delta and then getting Deathrite Shaman into play, but it's not actually Deathrite Shaman, it's just a 1/1. I think that's the thing that, if you're Jake right now, you probably have to remember is that all of your creatures just have no text.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and Charlotte's Bug doesn't have like a super quick clock or anything, but it wins most of its games with its creatures, you know? So humility in play, especially alongside Ajite, is pretty tough to handle. So eventually that Academy Rune's is gonna have to go bye-bye at some point.
He's going to go with the Thoughtseize. Says, I want the Path Exile. Out of your hand, please. So maybe he was sensing a little bit of strength from his opponent. Lynch will untap. Will he activate the ruins before he draws? The answer is no.
Yeah, maybe if he had enough to get back Batterskull, he would have.
There's a Caracas. Jace goes down to 1. And it looks like he forgot the charge counters on his Jite.
Yeah, that is any combat damage,
Yep.
correct?
So now he's going to go after Academy Ruins. So now here's an activation. And can't use the Flooded Strand. He needs to use a different land.
That's fine. Got plenty of those.
Yeah, does have plenty of those laying around. But for getting the charge counters there might be a huge deal. Gonna return Batterskull. Put that on top of the deck. Now Jake says, I'm gonna Fate Seal you. He says, yeah, put that to the bottom now. Thank you much. Now here's a couple of Knuckleheads. But those Knuckleheads get to defend Jace because those creatures don't fly. Again, humility makes those things all 1/1s that don't matter. So Lynch is going to sacrifice his Flooded Strand to shuffle his Batterskull back in. He's going to go down to 9 in the process. But the Mind Sculptor is looking to take over. And again, had Lynch not forgotten those charge counters on those Jite, those creatures would be gone. It's a big misstep at this point in the game.
Yeah, I feel like in the world of 1/1 creatures, the Jite is king.
It reigns supreme. But there are still good cards to be drawn, so we'll see what Lynch can find. Mondello's just basically hoping for a brick right now. See what the draw is.
It looked like a Thopter Foundry.
In we go with 1. We'll see if it's going towards Jace or towards Jake. I imagine it's Jace.
Yeah, I do too, and I like that attack, keeping the other one back, just because once your first token deals combat damage, you get those counters, you're able to take out Jake's other creature as well.
2 counters. Yeah, the backup Thopter Foundry is actually pretty good here.
Yeah, at this point, you know that there are no Lilianas anywhere. That Pithing Needle might just be better off as a 1/1.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that point now where it's like time to like kind of push through, trying to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, that Jace has to go down.
Yeah. So it's a Brainstorm. Now there's another Jace, there's a Charlotte's Agent, there's a Hymnotorak. Most of that stuff doesn't matter. See, Lynch has got Mondello in like this really interesting. It's not a lock. That's not the right word, but
No, this is like the chokehold, you know?
it's just like I'm sure this is a very unfamiliar situation for Jake. It's just like I don't really know how I'm supposed to get out of this, and I'm not convinced that there's a good way to do that. So here's a Cascade. There's a Goif. And just pass the turn back. And his next turn, the next card on top of his deck is a Hymnotorak, which is essentially dead. So Lynch is going to sack this Needle. That was naming Liliana. And that's going to give him a 1/1 flyer. Actually, I keep saying flyer, but it doesn't actually fly.
Well,
because humility's in play.
it says flying on the card, I guess.
It does say flying on the card. So there's that. See if he has any interest in maybe sacking the Thopter Foundry here too. We saw him do it last time. But nope, he's going to rock steady. Lynch will draw. It's a copy of Misty Rainforest. That one doesn't matter much.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lynch is ahead here, but a lot of it is just about pacing too, where you're not sure necessarily exactly how Mondello sideboarded. He could have one of his 2 copies of Golgari Charm, and then you don't want to do anything foolish like sacrifice all your permanents, make this horde of 1/1s, and then allow him to potentially get back in the game with a -1/-1 to all creatures.
Yeah. So here's an attack. See how Mondello wants to block. I think you at least want to trade with the token if you can.
Yeah, better to trade with a Chokin than a counter.
Yeah.
But I guess if the equipped one is attacking the Jace, you also have to block that one.
Yeah, because you need your Jace so much. So gonna pump here. Damage is gonna happen. He's gonna kill this because he wants to make sure he keeps Sky. So that's gonna die, and then 2 charge counters are gonna go on here. So slowly but surely just getting these things out of the way, and then happy to press the turn back. So we'll see if Jace can actually save Jake here. Again, he drew a him for the turn. He knew that was there from the Brainstorm last turn. He could take like, a different direction and try like unsummoning the Thopter that has the GT on it, but again, I'm not convinced that accomplishes very much.
Yeah, I mean, you have that Thopter Foundry at the ready. Can make a token whenever.
There's a Brainstorm of Visions, an Agent.
Well, that's a thing.
We're
the combo has been assembled.
Yeah, we're working a little bit now.
Shardless Agent is a cast trigger, and enters the battlefield trigger.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a delight. Okay, so humility doesn't stop that one.
Right.
Yeah, humility is a touch confusing.
It is.
I like putting the Jace on top and the Visions on beneath it.
Yeah, I mean, Jake's been working to preserve that backup Jace.
He actually just puts the Visions on top, so.
Yeah, so again, he's going to draw the backup copy of Jace in case anything bad happens. He wants to have that copy in reserve.
Him and Death, right, so no great draws there. I suppose having a backup Jace is an acceptable plan just because, like, you're probably going to lose it. And so that's really the only card that's really getting you back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's going to guess a Brainstorm now.
And that's certainly true, but at the same time, it's like you need to draw something to deal with what's in play.
Mm-hmm.
Got some help there.
You can get a little feisty with G-Charm.
Yeah.
Actually, G-Charm is interesting, right? Like, because it can blow up humility?
Yeah.
I was really focusing on it just being able to -1/-1 things, and if Paul takes like a significant misstep, but GT makes it so that like the misstep really can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe killing humility turns this game around?
Maybe. I mean, he's already had to run a bunch of his creatures into the Jitte. So, we see a lot of Goifs dying, a lot of Death Ray Shamans dying.
Mm-hmm. All right, pass it back.
I think what Jake really wants to have happen is for Paul to get rid of that Thopter Foundry and then for him to charm away all the tokens except for whatever he pumps with the Jitte, and then he can just unsummon that one.
Yeah, bounce that one. Yeah.
And that's an ideal scenario, The odds of you actually getting to be in that spot aren't super likely, but...
Now, you need some sort of a misstep to take place.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Well, that's step one.
Yep.
If you're Jake. I'm not saying it's missed up on Paul's side, but if you're Jake, you're going, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that is what you needed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Lynch is really feeling this pressure like he can't just let his opponent keep brainstorming. You know, something has to happen.
So Lynch will draw again. He's got a Misty in his hand, and he picked up a card. Didn't get a great look at it, though. He doesn't look happy about it, that's for sure.
Is it a misdirection? Yeah.
What do you know about misdirection, huh?
Nothing. My hymns have never been misdirected. And my gambles never discard the card that I gamble for. And it's a wonder how I ever won any matches.
There's some blocks. This is an activation. Make that count. Make that token to a 3/3. Get this off the table. So clear up some of this stuff. 2 counters are going to go on. And this is, as you mentioned, this is, I think, exactly what Mondello needed to happen. So now Mondello gets to untap. I think Charm is a top card.
Yeah, it is, but this might be dangerous, right? Because Lynch has 1 card, and he might want to clear it away with him to Turok before he does anything.
Ugh, yeah.
And here we go.
Oh, boy.
Him, me.
No.
No,
No,
him,
no,
you.
him, you. I would respond.
Yeah.
And this isn't, this isn't the end all, because
No, it's not.
you're still okay. You cast Charm, -1/-1. You get to kill the token that doesn't have GT on it. And if Lynch doesn't respond, then you get the other one for free.
Right. I think he's going to pump with the GT.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend your turn chasing away that token, but then Lynch is left with Humility and GT with a counter on it.
Yeah.
And
then,
you have a chase.
yeah, and if he bricks off, then you can actually control his draw. And then you're doing pretty good.
And yeah, Batterskull is gone. Well, Batterskull is in the deck, I believe.
Yeah, it's in the deck.
Academy Runes is gone.
Yep.
Sword of the Meek is gone.
So let's see if Mondello sees this. Again, I think that he just has to, in this situation. Ooh.
He's getting a little feisty. I mean, he still has outs where, as long as he discards the Hymn to Turok, if he keeps the Jace or the Charm, he's fine. Because he can unsummon with Jace, play another Jace, unsummon again.
So he gets to keep, and he loses that one. And then he's going to lose that one, and he keeps. Ugh.
Those were the 2 he wanted.
Yep.
Now I think we go digging with Jace.
I think you have to now.
Yeah.
So he didn't see the line that you mentioned, and it makes sense for him to lead off with him, because there could be a Force of Will there or something like that. But now I think I agree with you. I think he does have to press a 0 button with Jace. Yep, and get a little deeper into his deck. So Visions, Spellbomb, Toxic Deluge.
I mean, that'll do it.
That will work just fine.
Also get to suspend Ancestral this turn if
Yep.
you were so inclined.
Yep. So Jace is pretty powerful, helping Jake out of this situation. Now you're saying, how big can you make your creature? The answer is into a 5/5. Toxic Deluge. He will pay some number of life here. So bye-bye those go. And now suspend Visions, and now kick it back. All right. So now Lynch has to peel. Not get a great look. All right, it's a Visions battle. This couldn't make you happier.
I love these games. You know I'm pleased.
Yes, I do.
I mean, it's a little unfair. One guy has Jason, the other one doesn't.
Yeah,
But
it's true. So now if you're Jake, you know, the question is, how do you want to go about using your Jace? Like, you can just brainstorm a bunch and try to sculpt a hand, or you can just say, hey, I'm just going to, like, go after the top of your deck, because
Yeah.
dealing you damage is probably not realistic, and the way that I'm going to beat you is by activating Jace's ultimate.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how many creatures Jake has gone through, right?
I mean, it feels like a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
Yeah, there's a Spell Bomb.
But also, I think Lynch still has a fetch land in play.
Yeah, he does have a Misty among those lands. Mondello's just going to pass a turn back. Lynch is going to sacrifice this. He wanted to see what it was going to be. It looks like it was going to be a Stoneforge Mystic, so that card going to the bottom. Fresh draw coming. But hey, in Legacy, and really in any format, truthfully, it only takes a couple activations of Jace before the opponent doesn't get to catch up.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter which activations they are for the most part, because they're all so powerful.
Yeah. Got a lot of good options on that one.
And that Jace has been out there for, it feels like 4 or 5 turns now.
Maybe longer.
And if Jace is out there that long, chances are you're not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Jake has had to use that Jace to come back. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like he's just been like putting his opponent in the chokehold that we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
right? Now it begins, though.
So Lynch will draw another Visions.
There it is.
Yep.
My favorite.
4 and 3, they're all ticking down. We'll get another die out there.
Ran out. Sorry.
No, we're good. We are so good. Mondello's Visions is going to resolve first, though, if things keep going the way they are. And now Mondello gets to just keep taking up Jace if that's what he wants to do. And again, if I'm in his seat, I don't really shift gears here, because again, I think that dealing damage is just too difficult.
Yeah. I mean, with humility in play, it seems like Jace is your win condition.
Hymn Torak was the draw. Just kick it back. That one got him in trouble last time, but
Yeah.
Lynch with no cards in hand.
It did get kicked back, in
Yeah.
fact.
Lynch will draw. I think that was a Foundry?
Of the Thopter variety?
Yeah. A timely draw, if that's the case. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it might just end up being 3 mana, make a 1/1, gain a life. But with Ajite, that's sometimes all you need.
Yep. Now Jake's going to look through the graveyard here, and I think this might be a situation where he says, all right, I'm going to bust my Nile Spellbomb, maybe try to draw into a counter spell if he has Force of Wills left. 'Cause I think you have to. That's like the one card that he can draw that causes like a real problem here.
Yeah. I mean, even something like an Abrupt Decay, you could really kill the Foundry, have him make the token, and then just bounce it with Jace. You know, you really don't want to have to do that, but you can't really let that Thopter just run wild.
A copy of Thoughtseize was the draw, so he's drawn some discard spells at the wrong time. So now we're going to the Brainstorm button again. So now he's searching for answers. So hit 1 is Trop, 2 is Delta, 3 is Underground Sea. Those do not help, though he does get to shuffle here.
And shuffling's good, and then if he needs to, he can take another crack with that Nile Spellbomb. Get to see one more card this turn. I mean, also, I suppose, you know, I'm used to seeing this Jace with 3 counters on it, right? Like, the loyalty's actually built up a decent amount. Like, he has a turn at least.
So he's going to fetch away.
And then again, Jake is at 8.
Yeah, no, his life total's pretty low.
Yeah, is it better to attack the Jace on 7 or the player on 8? I mean, I guess, I don't know. Because the Thopter gets in 1 hit and then can potentially get bounced.
There's a Spellbomb activation. So Lynch's graveyard's going to be gone here. Mystery card.
Could be anything.
Yeah, I didn't get a great look at that.
That was a Shardless Agent.
Okay. Of course you knew that. That's a Verdant. That's a Liliana. That's a Tar Pit. That's a Verdant. Ugh. That's Thoughtseize.
And Brick City.
Yep. Not casting that one. Shuffle those cards from Cascade on the bottom. Those will go on the bottom of the deck. Now, the one thing about the Thopter Foundry is just, again, he can only make one token because he's not sacrificing the GT. So he's got to make the most of this token, and Jake's got to beat this token.
All right, I have a question.
I hopefully have an answer.
How did it get to be the point where Paul has an Ancestral on less counters than Jake?
Well, that should be on 3 and 2. So
He just went to his upkeep.
yeah, we can easily fix that. Those should be on 3 and 2, and not 2 and 1, because Jake suspended 1 first.
Right.
So,
I mean, are you sure about that, or did Jake miss a counter?
well, I don't think you can't miss taking it down. It's mandatory. So. Stop the game. Yeah, I mean, taking for suspended, it's not optional. Like it's
No.
a mandatory trigger.
Okay.
You have to do that. So we can get this taken care of. Dude, seriously, please stop the game. So we're gonna stop this game to make sure everything is appropriate, even though Batter Skull did just come off the top. So. Yeah. Okay. So we're good now. So yeah, it's down to 1. Then we have 3 and 2. So.
Okay. Well, I learned something.
Yeah, and we have judge's confirmation on that. So. But that's actually 2 really good back-to-back draws there for Lynch, the Thopter Foundry and then the Batter Skull.
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be a spot where like the Thopter gets 1 hit in and then just bites it.
Yeah, and then just bounced. And Mondello didn't draw anything that matters again this turn, so he might be stuck again brainstorming. Looks like he's going to go on summoning, and he wants to get the germ token out of here. Okay. And now he's going to suspend a vision, so that's on 4. Kick it back.
I mean, we're in the same spot now where Lynch's Ancestral goes off first.
Stop the game right now. Stop it right now. Say stop. Say fucking stop.
We stop the game. The vision counter should be more.
So it looks like, yeah, we're going to see if we can get this fixed because, yeah, the game state is definitely incorrect here.
Yeah, if the Ancestral suspend thing is not something you can miss, then Jake definitely had his suspended first.
Yeah, he drew 1 first, then Lynch drew his. So, yeah, his visions definitely should not be resolving first. So now we definitely have to see if there's a way that we can correct this and unwind it because the game state is definitely wrong. And Lynch has seen, like, Lynch drew those 3 cards, so it's pretty easy to just. Well, that's not true, so tell them they're wrong because we know it's correct.
There's 2 people talking. It just says this trigger putting this.
Okay. So it looks like the head judge's ruling is that the trigger on taking down the visions can be missed. And it looks like Mondello missed the trigger for that.
Okay, so I'm not crazy, I guess.
Okay. And since that is the head judge, that is the final ruling on the situation. There's no switching that, so. You see the players are kind of talking back and forth about that, about what exactly did take place.
Yeah, I mean, Jake certainly had his suspended first, and we thought that he was going to have a big advantage because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the turn where he casts a deluge and then suspends the vision, so it gives him like a really nice advantage.
Yep.
And so now I don't even know how he works himself out of this game now.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely needed those 3 cards on the last turn.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
for sure.
Even aside from Paul drawing 4 cards this turn, he gets to move the Batter Skull over, hit the Jace, so on and so forth. But
The game is definitely still winnable. Though, yeah, moving this over here allows him to finish off the Jace.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can overcome just like Batter Skull, just like kind of doing its thing. Let's see what this is. Okay, this is just Tarpit looking to try to block. Yeah, but it's a 1-1 because Humility's in play. And so he's going to use it twice, even though it is just a 1 toughness creature. So that's going to go up to 3.
I'm not sure if that's right with layers and manlands and
Oh,
humility.
sure, yeah. There's a Visions. 2 and 3. At least Humility is like not confusing at all.
Yeah.
It makes like our job really easy. So now Lynch has like a bunch of cards in his hand to play a Flooded Strand for the turn, and now it's just, now I don't know if Mondello can get back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he was grinding pretty well for a while there, but now, yeah, you're right. It is probably a little too far gone.
Liliana, Brainstorm. Those are steps in the right direction. I just don't know if he can overcome Batter Skull.
Yeah.
Does he have a card like, does he have Pulse?
No. It's generally just like they Stoneforge for it, you Thoughtseize it,
Yeah.
or just like punish it with Jace and Liliana, stuff like that, and then tempo them out while they're trying to bounce it and replay it. Yeah, but at this point, when Paul has 8 lands and Batter Skull, it's very tough to beat, especially with the Humility in play, which means that at no point can your Tarmogoyf brick wall it.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's almost no way that Mondello can win this game, like via damage. Like creatures trying to block or anything like that. Like I think the only way you can actually win is with Jace. Liliana's gonna come in. It's gonna take down. Yeah, so there goes the agent.
But then here comes the 3rd Ancestral in 2 turns.
Uh-huh. So here are 3 more cards.
Maybe Lynch will just get decked.
I mean, he doesn't have his ruins anymore,
Yeah.
so it's like not impossible. And this game has been going on very long. I mean, we're in almost the 70th minute, and it's game 2. So I can't imagine he has very many cards left in his deck.
And that exiled pile that Lynch is looking through now, that was his graveyard at one point, has been Nihil Spellbomb twice, and now they're doing a deck count.
1, 2, 3. Don't have a great look at it. It's over 10 cards. Might be
Yeah.
wrong, but it's on the low end of 20. Looks like Jake has 14 and Paul has 15. So I don't think that's a consideration. It's gonna be a decay.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you've killed the creatures. Lynch has drawn a new hand a few times over.
Yeah.
Almost certainly has another Shardless Agent or Stoneforge Mystic, but
Yep. There's the agent.
even if he didn't, you know, just bounce and replay Batter Skull is pretty good.
Yeah. Just being able to do that over and over and over again. There's a top. Yeah, there's another agent. There's a brainstorm.
Go deeper into that deck.
Not even casting it.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, I think that's smart too. I was going to say, maybe decking is a thing that could happen now, but he doesn't even like to cast the brainstorm. Probably has exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
I mean, he just drew 9 cards over, 2 turns or whatever.
The power of Ancestral Vision.
Yeah. So Mondello's going to sack a land, but I think we're going to be heading to a 3rd game between these two. Because, again, I don't know if there's a way for Mondello to actually get out of this situation. It seems close to impossible.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think there was a moment in time where that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, anything could have happened if his Ancestral had fired off first.
Yeah. I think he may have worked his way into a decay, which allows him to kill the creature, and then, you know, the situation is completely different. But because Jake forgot to take down.
Yeah. Like, the Jace could potentially still be alive, still ticking up.
It did take some fortunate draws there for Paul to find a Thopter Foundry and then the Batter Skull, but, I mean, that's why they're in their deck.
Right. But ultimately, both decks are relatively threat light. It's just like the threats that they do have are very, very powerful.
I'm interested to see if Mondello can actually like beat Humility for the third game, assuming we head to one.
I think he can. I mean, it's one of those things where you might not be prepared for it, but once you see the effect it has on the game, you're just like, oh, like this is a thing. He had to throw away like maybe 6 or more creatures just to Jite counters because Humility was in play.
Card doesn't see enough play, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is confusing, though. So it is nice that it doesn't see play. It's like the gentleman's agreement type thing. It's like, can we just not?
Yeah. You have to be a level 3 judge to be able to commentate on it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, I'm not qualified.
Yeah. There's a him.
Let's get rid of 2 of those 7 cards.
Yeah. Well, it's time to roll some dice. I know that your gambles never discard the card. When you get him, do you ever...
Oh, they don't him me. No. I always him their hymns first.
I mean, I thought that was the case. I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you think that something else
Yeah,
would be going on?
Yeah. You think they would hit my cards? Oh, okay. Yeah. I apologize.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful.
No, it's all right. I understand.
Yeah.
No, like, I'm obviously joking, but I'm also being kind of serious.
I
where
know
it's
you
like,
are.
I don't really remember ever getting him to Turok. And maybe it's just one of those really bad feelings that you just suppress.
It's like, oh, I got both my lands. I lost.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. I didn't even join that tournament. I just dropped.
I gambled. I had 1 card in my hand. I didn't discard it. So I win.
Yeah.
My gambles never fail. If
Well-
if my only card's gamble, it's because I'm gambling for loam. That's what I
Sure.
want. That's what I want to have happen.
I can see gambling for a bad card and trying to top deck next turn.
Just
you
get
know?
out of your deck.
I've seen Noah Weil Cranial Extraction himself to thin his deck.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a delight.
Yeah.
I hope he won that game.
Sees all the angles. No, he got crushed.
Ah,
but
God.
his opponent had more than lethal. But I think there was something he could have drawn. But it was still just like, oh, okay, Noah, I see what's going on here.
I hope that was happening in limited. That's what I want.
And then you're just like, well, why is Cranial Extraction in your
Yeah.
deck? But hey, nice play.
So it looks like some blocks and things are going to take place here. Gonna go after Liliana. Yep. Up to 3. This is a grinder's paradise here.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. I hope you're ready for another like 40-minute game. That's what we're definitely in store for.
Yeah.
I don't think
use a break maybe.
Yeah, I don't
but
think these games end quickly ever.
Jake was doing a really good job at cutting Paul off from the things that he needed to, like the things that give Paul inevitability, like the Academy Ruins, the Sword of the Meek, and it just got to a point where the equipment was too much.
Yep. And Paul Lynch is going to win game number 2 here over Jake Mondello. So we're going to head to a third and final game. We're going to take a look at the sideboards here now between these 2 players. Mondello is going to be on the play. You've got that in front of you. We
If
saw
he
Niall
wants to
Spellbomb
be.
come in.
If he wants to
Okay.
it is kind of grindy.
Okay,
Just throwing that out
dude.
there. I think he should play. But anyway, 2 Nile Spellbombs, 2 Chills. Love that card. 2 Disfigure, 2 Flusterstorm, 4th copy of Force of Will, 2 Golgari Charm, 2 Hymn to Turok, Thoughtseize, and a Toxic Deluge. Got some Nile Spellbombs to interact with the graveyard stuff. We saw Mondello have Disfigure and Toxic Deluge in his deck after sideboard. And those cards are pretty good at fighting Stoneforge Mystic.
Not sure how often that's supposed to happen, especially in Legacy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a thing that happens. So, game number 3 will be underway. Again, the winner here, as Lynch does suspend Ancestral Visions, is going to play against Shadeen. Shadeen is, I think she's awake.
She's waiting patiently.
I think she's awake.
I think she just got some Shake Shack.
Running so good. So good.
Yeah, waiting on the finals and eating Shake Shack, you know, that's not a bad place to be.
There are worse things in life than that. I can promise you that. Ancestral Vision's taking down here for Lynch. So that's down to 3, and I imagine he will draw a card here in just a moment. So there is a Misty, and just pass the turn back over to Mondello. Mondello with nothing happening the first couple turns of the game. No him, no Thoughtseize, no nothing. Though he did just pick up Thoughtseize this turn. See if he wants to fire that off. I mean, he did get misdirected last game. Might be a little bit of fear there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've seen each other's deck lists. Jake knows that it's a one of. It's not likely to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is certainly that fear, right?
See what land Mondello wants to search. He's going to get the Trop. Down to 19 via the Verdant. And maybe it's time for a little Shardless action? Oh, Lily Pad. That's a way to take over a game.
Yeah.
He also has a Jace too, so he's got like a Planeswalker's draw.
Yeah, that's pretty good against Lynch's deck. I mean, both these decks are kind of like dirtily mid-range decks, whereas Lynch owns the late game for the most part.
Yeah.
And so if you're Mondello, you kind of want to get off to a faster start than this. But when you do have a draw that includes Liliana into Jace the Mind Sculptor, like that is also a fine place to be.
Yeah.
Those are difficult to remove.
Yeah, it's actually tough for Lynch's deck to beat those cards.
Yeah.
He's really good at containing creatures and winning the creature wars. You know, we saw last game with Humility, GTA, Batterskull, Thopter Founder, stuff like that. He can make a ton of tokens, but he's actually pretty soft against Planeswalkers. I'm not going to find cards like Council's Judgment running around or anything like that.
Yep.
Mondello picked up a copy of Brainstorm. Now here comes a copy of Thoughtseize. And that's going to resolve. So there you do see a Misdirection, a Sword of the Meek, a Humility, and a couple of lands, Misty Rainforest and an Academy Ruins.
Yeah, so again, not the fastest start from Lynch, but generally it's okay in this matchup. You know, he had an Ancestral, which is pretty important for fighting the card advantage war, and it's a pretty good card against the discard out of Mondello's deck. And he had a Misdirection, but, you know, granted no blue card, but a few turns went by, could have drawn into that blue card, maybe could have misdirected him to Turok. You know, his hand has plenty of game.
Feels... if I'm Jake, I kind of want to snipe that Humility.
Yeah.
It was like such a pain in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, the sword is something that you're probably going to want to deal with eventually, but right now, not a big issue. Misdirection, no blue card, still 2 lands away from hard casting it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Misdirection is like kind of an annoyance. It looks like he's going to take that so he doesn't have to worry about it later. And he did discard Golgari Charm already. So now here's a Brainstorm. So he's going to draw 3 cards. Vision's among them. He's going to put a couple back. So he's got the Abrupt Decay in his hand.
Generally pretty useful in this matchup, just not against Paul's very slow draw.
Yeah, against this particular draw, it's not great. There's a Verdant Catacombs. Hasn't played land yet this turn. See if he wants to sacrifice this just yet. He doesn't, so he's going to tick this up. So Swamp is ready to go. Lynch is going to figure out what he wants to discard. And Sword of the Meek is a pretty decent option, but he's going to go with Misty Rainforest. Now there's a Deathrite Shaman. And so Mondello, this game is going, I think, a little bit more how he wants it to. Again, he has to be a little scared of, like, you know, Vision's taking down and Lynch refilling his hand.
Yeah.
And not being able to really do a lot about that.
But if it gets to the point where that happens and you have a Planeswalker or two in play, you know, your situation's still not that bad.
Yep, now he's going to sacrifice both these, and it looks like Paul drew a copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor for the turn.
Okay.
So a Trop and a Tundra. Maybe not. Let's make sure he gets the right lands.
Yeah.
Don't want to make that boo-boo.
No, yeah. Especially with the humility in his hand that he almost certainly wants to play this game.
Yeah.
You definitely want to get the second white source so you're not forced into trying to find that in a later turn.
So let's see which 4-mana spell it's going to be. Yep. He puts a lot of value on humility.
Oh, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
You saw it doing its thing in the last game.
Yeah. And Jake, when he discarded with Liliana the first time, he discarded Golgari Charm.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he had the opportunity to take that with Thoughtseize. He elected to take Misdirection instead. You're going to wonder if that's a mistake that's going to come back to bite him.
Yeah, I gotta imagine that he's just on the Planeswalker plane at this point, right? Like, you see his sideboard. He has 2 Golgari Charms for things that remove enchantments, but also Liliana is capable of removing enchantments as well.
Yep. There's Jace. And I think this is the best way to go about, like, actually winning this matchup. He's going to Fate Seal. That's a Forest. That's going to stay on top. Now Liliana is going to take up to 6, so threatening the ultimate there for next turn. Deathrite Shaman's going to come in for 1. Now Lynch, of course, is going to be able to draw some cards here with Visions, refuel the grip a little bit. We know he's got a Jace in his hand, but you know, if Mondello takes the strategy of, okay, I will sidestep this, like, creature battle that you're having,
Yeah.
and I will let Liliana and Jace take over, I don't know if there's a lot that Lynch can do about that.
Yeah, keep your humility. Planeswalkers don't care.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, if that's the plan, there's a Thopter Foundry. I see a Stoneforge Mystic over there. And Sword's in the bin already, so.
Just need another artifact to sacrifice to get the party started.
And we know that Lynch has got a decent amount of those. So Mondello is going to draw. Don't know if this is the exact time to cash in with the Liliana. There's a Hymn. So Lynch is going to be left with one of those cards. So that one's going to stay. These are going to go. Stoneforge and the Jace. Oof. Lily's going to tick up.
Get the last card.
Yep. And I think it's a Thopter Foundry. Yep. There's an attack for 1. But he doesn't win that war. Now the question is, you know, does Lynch want to actually sacrifice a Thopter Foundry now?
Yeah, I mean, it's tempting to remove the Deathrite, but it is just a 1/1 with no abilities.
Yep.
But if he sacrifices the Thopter Foundry, he can get back Sword of the Meek onto the 1/1. But then next turn, he can't Academy Ruins, play Thopter Foundry, and start making tokens in the same turn.
The top card's going to go to the bottom.
So I think maybe at this point he might just be, okay.
And so that's going to come in. Thopter is going to get attached to that. And that's going to try to contain these planeswalkers
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I thought he might want to Academy Ruins another artifact and then start making more artifacts, but I guess you don't really have time to do that with Liliana prepared to go ultimate next turn. It might be best to just make the token this turn, knock one of the planeswalkers down, a little bit of loyalty, and then try and reassemble that combo at a later point.
I think Lynch right now is deciding if he wants to activate Academy Ruins on his upkeep. Looks like the answer is yes. I think his thought process there is likely, there's nothing better that I can draw than a Thopter Foundry.
Right, so just spend all my mana, put that into play.
Liliana goes down to 5.
Now Jace can potentially unsummon the Thopter, Liliana can tick up to 6, and then again threaten the ultimate on the next turn.
Yep. So here's a Brainstorm. See a Vision's a Wasteland. Wasteland's actually pretty important for getting Thopter Foundry out of play. Or excuse me, for getting Academy Ruins out of play. To stop the recursion of Thopter Foundry. There's Charlotte's Agent. That's Visions. That's 3 cards. Again, he's already used Jace this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Could just tick down Liliana to get the token off the battlefield. I don't know how much that matters, though. That's another Charlotte's Agent. All right. Let's see what this one finds. Decay is real good.
Yeah.
He's going to tick up.
And then we might see the exact same turn from Paul here.
Yeah, put it on top plate again.
Yeah, attack Liliana.
If that's the case, I feel like you're probably better off just ticking down Liliana to get the creature off the board.
Yeah.
On that previous turn. Though, to be fair, like, you have a Charlotte's Agent that can block. Right? So
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you, by all means, chump block.
Yeah. You're perfectly fine with that. And then you might actually have, like, some serious interest in ultimating Liliana now.
Yeah, and it's like you don't get rid of everything that Paul has, right? But you get rid of some of the stuff that matters. You still have 2 planeswalkers.
There's Stoneforge Mystic. Nothing to search up. Just pass the turn back. Can't search anything up because
Yeah, it doesn't have ability.
Yep, because of humility. So a bit of a nombo. So Academy Ruins will be targeted. Wasteland. So Thopter Foundry is going to go on top of the deck. Now, of course, Jace can Fate Seal that to the bottom if necessary. And, yep, that happens right away. Now, of course, the big question is how will Liliana be used this turn? I guess, my thought, I'm thinking here is just like, are you supposed to ultimate? If you do, how do you split? That's the thing I don't know. Yeah, well, he's going for it now.
Yeah.
That's like the big question. It's like, if you're going to do this, and that's clearly what he's going to do, how do you chop this up?
I mean, it could be something as simple as lands versus non-lands.
Okay. You can throw the sword with the lance pile. That's a little bit risky.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jace on 9, you're fine with him having 2 creatures and a humility.
He's going to let that stuff go. And that actually works out great because now the creatures are actually big again.
Yeah.
So now he's able to attack for 5. And his Death Rite actually does something.
Yep.
And so now he can actually close the game out. I think like maybe the entire goal there is just like to get humility off the table.
Yeah.
But if Paul selects humility, and the lands, humility and the creatures, it's like okay, well you just don't get to cast more spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you don't get to kill everything, right? But you get to kill enough that you are super far ahead.
Yeah. So there is a Death Right activation to get rid of the visions. 2 more is going to be dealt. I'm going to fire up the tar pit, come across here for 5. Mondello's going to play that. Take a look at this. Make sure that it's a brick. It is. Draw that card. It's a trop. And Lynch is going to turn over 2 lands and extend the hand. Jake Mondello in a marathon affair. Yes. Putting it lightly. You see that? 104 minutes. They even took a short break to recompose themselves. He is finally on to the finals. And Jay Dean, if you are awake, congratulations. You've done it.
Wake up, JD.
Yeah,
it's time to go play.
You've got somebody to, stifle a wasteland into the ground before you head back to Michigan or